again, everyone. Welcome back to Day 2 of the NCAA Division II Women's South Regionals, and this is the semifinal round across the country. The field in the national tournament has been sliced to 32, and in all of the regionals, it's down to 4. And the 4 that we have with you will be starting off with Lee University, the number 3 seed in the tournament, going against Valdosta State's Lady Blazers, the number 7. Let's give you the starting lineups for Lee. Julia Duncan is a 5'10 sophomore from Tullahoma, Tennessee. She went almost double her average yesterday with 19 points in the opening round game. Hallie Hughes, she's a 5'9 graduate student from Cleveland, Tennessee, right there in the hometown of Lee. 19 points and 5 rebounds yesterday. Cameron Grant, 15 points, 10 rebounds yesterday. She is a 6-foot senior from Monticello, Florida. Hannah Garrett goes 6 feet, and she is a senior from Jamestown, Tennessee, a transfer from Tennessee Tech. And Haley Schubert, who yesterday had 16 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. She's missed everything on the court, a 5'7 senior from Knoxville. Now let's go over to the ladies from Georgia, almost on the Florida line, the Valdosta State Blazers. They'll be starting Tamaya Francis. Yesterday, that point guard from Canada was everything. 5'3 sophomore, and she had 11 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Nicole Hayne with 9 rebounds and 8 points yesterday. 5'11 graduate student, transfer from Texas A&M International. Kwajalein Farah, who is also known as Kay, she had 15 points and 8 rebounds yesterday. A graduate student from Grovetown, Georgia, 6'1". Delaney Bernard, 12 points and 5 rebounds yesterday, and she is a 5'8 graduate student from Lakewood, Colorado. And finally, Lily Long, she's the 6-footer and the sophomore from Australia, an international tone to this Valdosta team. And those are your starters. Of course, the coach for Lee, Marty Rowe, one of the veterans and one of the best guys in basketball. His associate head coach is Jan Spangler. And Valdosta is led by Deandra Shermer. Had a good time visiting with her last night after the press conference. And she talked about how so many people that she's encountered since she has been the head coach now 3 years at Valdosta is meeting alums who have had just a taste of that university in deep South Georgia and how much it has meant to them. And I'm one of them. I went there back in the, more years than I really want to tell you, but I'll whisper it to you. I was a freshman there 50 years ago, a long time ago. But also, Marty Rowe's team comes in, and tonight we're going to be giving you some excerpts from last night's press conferences with these coaches and some of their players. And I think you're going to find, as part of this, one of the segments, Marty Rowe gets about as emotional as you'll ever see a coach in talking about the pride he has in his players. And it was one of the most revealing moments I've ever seen from any coach whatsoever. So we hope to give you maybe an up-close and personal look at some of, if not all of these teams during the course of the 2 games that we have. Of course, the nightcap is Union University taking on the ever-tough Eckerd College from Florida, and Union, the number 1 seed in this tournament. But Eckerd went to old-school basketball last night in knocking off their vaunted rival Florida Southern, and it was impressive to see how they just grinded it out possession by possession after falling down by 10 and managed to win the game 69-64. So we're about ready to go down to the floor as the players will be introduced, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. We'll have both of these semifinals for you. And remember, Championship Monday is at 7 o'clock 2 nights from now. But right now, let's get to the business of choosing who the 2 semifinalists will be. Here we go.
Nicole Hayne.
tell both of these teams are sky high for this semifinal matchup. They have played 3 times against each other during the regular season. Last weekend in the semifinals of the Gulf South Conference tournament, it was Lee prevailing over Valdosta State. But I can tell you, the Lady Blazers would love nothing better than to be able to trip up the Lady Flames this afternoon and get that trip into Monday night. On this floor 4 years ago, it was Valdosta State against Union on Championship Monday, and one of the real thrillers you'll ever experience. Went down to the final possession of the game with Union winning, but this Valdosta State team, I got to tell you, they have, both of these teams have every possible reason to get the championship Monday and win it all. To jump it, it's going to be Kay Farrar, and she gets it over to the Lady Blazers to start it off. And again, just patience. Both of these teams are going to be playing with that idea in mind. Long 3 from the corner, and Francis couldn't get it to go, but trust me, she'll be putting up some more. And they tried to go to the inside to Garrett and just couldn't get the lob high enough. And there you go, some interesting defense being played. Blazers going to bring it back outside. And the jumper is short. And they scramble for it. And the alternate possession is going back to the Lady Flames. Marty Rose teams are known for their defense. They're known for their ability to play both transition and pattern defense and offense. There you go, Schubert. She's the one who really is the catalyst for this entire team. Their leading scorer. They go outside for the 3. Yes! Right there through the heart for Hallie Hughes. And you'll be hearing from her briefly during the course of this game. And again, this team slows the tempo down, but yet they can lull you to sleep and start going in a tremendous pace in transition. And let's see what the call is. And the foul is charged. And from my distance, I could not see the official signal. And they're trying to get the number right on there before they hand it off to be passed in. It's going to be our first foul of the contest. Regardless, it's Blazer ball. And they go inside to Farah, and she connects. Stutter step and the jump. Kay is such a very soft-spoken but very, very, very fine young woman. And it went too far, trying to get it on the inside once again to Garrett. And it was just out of her reach, so Blazers will play it off the turnover. And traveling is called. Francis taking just a bit of a step before she tried to dish it off. So once again, these teams in a shakeout period, even though they've seen each other, there's so much riding on this one, and the key is settling down and playing your game. Dictating tempo is so important for both of these teams. That's tough defense being played by Valdosta State, which they demonstrated yesterday. Down to 5 on the shot clock in the drive at the baseline. That earlier foul was charged to Lily Long of Valdosta State. And open for the 3. Nobody was there to pick her up, and it was an air ball for Hughes. Hallie had all day to shoot that one, just had too many Wheaties for breakfast. And again, they switch off. Beautiful give-and-go feed, perfectly timed to Kay Farrar. And if you wonder, it's Kwajalein, but her coach calls her Kay as well, so we'll do that. She answers to both. And driving on the inside, trying to get that layup, and Schubert had the range, but just didn't get it far enough on the glass. Going for the three. The big bomb is there. Terrific from outside for Lily Long. And Valdosta State is out to a 7-3 lead. As I say, a lot of incentive for this Valdosta State team, and coughing it up was Duncan. Nobody is going to catch up with that one. Absolutely perfect. Delaney Bernard with that layup to make it a 9-3 game. And this Valdosta State team has already forced 3 turnovers on Lee. Garrett wanted to go for that one and just couldn't make it happen. The three is off the mark for Hughes, and here they come on the bicycle again, right behind everybody, and the layup does not fall. I think I think that Hayne was so surprised to be that wide open. Missed an opportunity to go up 3 possessions. And Garrett loses it again. 4th turnover, and down the stretch she goes. And Marty Rowe is going to take time out, and Francis hustles back. It's an 11-3 lead for Valdosta State. But I mentioned to you, Marty Rowe demonstrated a lot of emotions over how to motivate his players, no more so than we saw in yesterday's news conference.
Jan told me right before we came back in, she said, you need to tell them how good you think they are, okay? Because I don't do that as much as I should. And to believe that we were good enough to win a game, okay? And good enough to advance, okay? And what you have to have on special teams, okay, is people step up at special times. I mean, we know what we're going to get out of her, okay? We know we're going to get 100%. We know what we're going to get out of her, okay? All right? But then all of a sudden, something special happens, okay, because you're a special person. And that's what these two are. They deserve it. She works so hard. She works so hard.
While we were away, Marty Rowe was not that soft-spoken with his team. I mean, you could have heard it all the way into the next county, because already 4 turnovers, coughing up to an 11-3 deficit this soon, and Marty is trying to get his team settled down. He says they've I could hear him from here saying, you have just completely lost focus. So he still loves this team, but it was just a very, very different Marty Rowe than you saw in that interview. But what an emotional time to talk about his players, and he meant every single word. And they go in the middle. Going to the deck was Francis. The three, no, about 4 bobbles in the cylinder, and it would not drop. This Valdosta State team has just come in with a mission this afternoon, and it just feeds on each other with all of those turnovers they forced. They lob it to the inside, and the reverse layup is there. Nicole Hayne with her first basket on a 13-3 roll here to start the first quarter, and we're barely halfway through it. Going for the three. No. Off the mark. And once again, 1 out of 6 from the floor is Lee. Going for the three, and that's off the mark. Nice job of saving it by Farah. You'll hear from Deandra Shermer in our next timeout. Francis thought about that three, and that was miscommunication. I think she thought that Bernard was going to make her way underneath, and she didn't, and the ball went completely out of bounds. Nobody there to pick it up. So Lee trying to capitalize off the second turnover committed by Valdosta State. That's where they're going to have to do this to get back into this one. Lobbing it up just too high was Schubert. Couldn't get it high enough off the glass. And traveling is called, so the teams exchange turnovers. With 4:15 remaining in the first quarter. The winner goes to Championship Monday against either Union or Eckerd. And checking in, Valdosta brings in Mallory Odell, the 6'1 graduate student and transfer from Longwood University. And Lee trying to do anything to try to unlock the key of this Valdosta State defense. And finally, in the middle, with 3 players sagging on top of her, Schubert draws the foul and goes to the line. And immediately is committed by Mallory Odell. Schubert on the season, 78% free throw shooter, and she averages 17 a game. Tremendous, tremendous athlete. And she's one of those that I can tell you every radio broadcaster that does games in the Gulf South Conference, they say you just got to do whatever you can to keep the ball out of her hands. And picking up the rebound is Odell. So a bit of a hex on the free throw line already also for Lee. Schubert is one that bounces off the screen very, very well. That one did not get the Plinko drop. Odell tried to have it. The iron was unkind. Well, they have really – you don't have to just scout. When you play a team 3 times already this season, you know what Schubert can do. And she jumps and can't get it to pop. And it's going to be a foul on the backside, and that one is going to be charged to Lily Long. That's only the 3rd team foul. So it will be Hughes to toss it in. This Lee team is very capable of comebacks, and this early deficit is not indicative of what they're capable of doing. The turnaround bank shot is there, but the foul, I think, was called before the shot, and that is going to be on Odell, and immediately she comes in and commits 2. She and Long both have 2 at this stage. Lee is yet to commit a first personal foul. And on the drive, Schubert right through the defenders and still overbanks it. Francis right through everybody. That young lady is so exciting to watch. And an 11-point lead once again. Long bomb. 3 is finally there. Maybe that's a catalyst for the Lady Flames. Carbaugh, who's come in off the bench, nailed that one. A 15-7 game. It's been all Valdosta until that 3-pointer. And trying the answer shot, and it is way, way left for Bernard, but they get the offensive board, which they are so capable of doing. This team crashes the glass with the best of them. Down to 1 on the shot clock. That would have been good if it went. And traveling is called. Again, unforced errors for this lead team. Carbaugh called for the travel, and that is 6 turnovers here in the first quarter, and 4 of them have not been really caused by the defense of Valdosta State. It has just simply been mental errors on the part of Lee. And a collision, that foul is going to be charged to Schubert, her first. But already that is the 6th team foul. And checking in for Lee is Julia Duncan once again. They're going to try to get her to crank this offense up again. And they work around the perimeter. And on the inside, stolen away. And again, this lead team has the capability of chipping away at this very, very quickly. Going for the bomb from outside. That left-handed push was not there. Carball thought she had another opportunity at it and almost dropped it. A minute and a half remaining. Let's see how Deandra Shermer plays this one. The give and go on the inside. Nicely blocked. Beautifully timed on the inside. And the Blazers with another opportunity kissed away. And now here you go with Lee. 20 on the shot clock. Marty has done some substituting to try to see if he can get this lineup cranked up. Down to 8. And triple teaming on the inside. That was almost like watching a triangle and 2 defense, the way they had the post, and Garrett just had nowhere to go with it. She was trying a spin move, and it was just nothing there. And they will bring into the contest Addison Smith, a 6-foot sophomore. She is from Hudson, New Hampshire. Only 3 on the shot clock, so rearing back and firing, and it's an air ball. Schubert really had very little choice because everyone else was covered up. And by the time she got it in her hands, it was down to 3 seconds. Chance of defense coming from the Lee contingent. But Valdosta State has controlled this one, getting a step on the inside and the foul. That foul is charged to Duncan. And checking back in is Kay Farrer. And an opportunity for 2 here for Nicole. And she nails it. This Valdosta State team, again, they had to play strong rebounding efficiency yesterday to hold on 59-50 in their win over Tampa, because Tampa made a couple of big rallies. And you can't put them on the free throw line very often, because even though it's a 67% shooting team, their top players, you can just look at it right here, 80, 75, 76 from the line. Lee has just been throttled in this first quarter. Big 3 off the screen, and it goes too far. And it's off the fingertips of Hughes. And they almost have to go into one of the classrooms at Union University to retrieve that one. So it's Cersei to turn it over back as they try to get the final shot of this first quarter. Going to slow that tempo and use every bit of time off that clock. You can see the directing traffic that Cersei is doing, and then pops it up and in. Does it all herself. That's the way you do it. It's the do-it-yourself method, and Cersei made it work. And Valdosta State dominated that first quarter 19-7. So we'll give you some totals in a moment. But first, let's talk to Coach Deandra Shermer on how Kay Farrar and Delaney Bernard are willing to go the second mile to achieve ultimate victory.
She just goes out there every single time and just, is dominant. And, tonight it was no different. She went in there, trying to save her legs a little bit for tomorrow, but still played her 30 minutes, but was able to be very, very efficient. She's also somebody that you have to game plan for. And once she starts going, they have to start bringing help, and they have to bring somebody else to help stop her, and that's where Delaney came in, and Delaney started lighting up from outside. But to describe or talk about these two that I got sitting next to me, that would be impossible, because they're two very, very special ladies, and can't say enough about how great they are.
And Deandra has the same kind of love and respect for all of her team as you will see with Marty Rowe, except right now in that huddle, the gospel, according to Coach Rowe, is being preached. And I think it is the second It's the sequel of the sermon that they received with about 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Marty is just intense about this because this is not, we just haven't seen anything of a Lee team this season where it looked as though they just could not deliver. Now, they were held to 44 points in the Gulf South Conference Championship game against Union last Sunday, and both teams got to the fourth quarter and appeared to be gassed because each one of them had only 5 points in the final 10 minutes of action. And they just looked like they were absolutely done. And I think they enjoyed that rest of 5 days before they had the opportunity to return to action. And that's been the case all over the country. Lee with the alternate possession to begin this second quarter. And again, they just simply cannot make any movement inside the paint. They're having to do just about everything from outside. 8 of their 13 shots. And there you go. There was just no hope. But let's see. I think a foul was called just at the release. And it appears the foul was charged to Hayne. So let's see what they do with it. As I was about to mention, 8 of their 13 shots have been behind the arc. That's not Lee basketball. They're a good three-point shooting team, but they don't put them up that often that way. Turnaround, 3 seconds called. And again, another unforced error. Turnover number 6 for the Lady Flames. Valdosta State has been able to penetrate the paint well. 14 of their 19 points have been inside the red square. And the turnaround left-hand looper is not there. And let's see. I thought Hayne was going to take the jumper. Lee will play it underneath. And checking in for Lee, Haley Johnson, 5'9" freshman from Jamestown, Tennessee. We're seeing some Lady Flames that didn't get much action yesterday, and Marty is just trying to shake this lineup every way possible to see if he can get a group that gels. It is highly uncommon for a Lee team to be into the second quarter and only 7 points. 6 on the shot clock. They're in all kinds of trouble with this Valdosta State defense. Big push 3. It is there. And I must tell you, Haley Johnson had to use every ounce of strength, and it went through with 1 second left on the shot clock. But 6 of the 10 points have been from behind the arc. That one short, and the rebound came off to Garrett. And going for the 3 again, and off the back of the iron for Garrett. Valdosta State so quick and so precise with their passes. Francis wanted to go for that 3, but slowed back up on it. We got 10 on the shot clock. You figure this is going to be a defensive affair, and so far it has shown that to be true. And Francis gave it a big push, and look at that, reaching in to grab it. Delaney Bernard, and that's one of the things that particularly Deandra Shermer talks about, is her team will go after every possible loose ball, particularly if they're on their A game and the officials have a discussion going on. There's 12 seconds remaining on the shot clock, and they're going to come over and talk to the scorer's table. Had a few problems with the clock yesterday. Anyway, wholesale substitutions coming in for both teams. Francis comes out for Valdosta State. Garrett's going to get a quick rest for the Lady Flames. But Valdosta State still clinging to that 9-point lead, and for most of the game it's been 9 to 10 points. And on the inside, it's Farah. And she got the friendly drop off the back of the iron. Farah with 6. That gives her the lead in the game. And to the corner for the three. Off to the right it goes for Smith. Marty Rowe has already exchanged 10 players in and out of this game. Cameron Grant getting set to check back in. Open for the three. No, off the back of the iron. And scrambling for that one was Duncan. So they're going to slow the pace once again. They've not been able to get anything in transition this afternoon. Knocked away, and it's going to go back to Lee with 14 on the shot clock. Grant comes back in, and checking out is Smith. You'll be hearing from Hallie Hughes and Cameron Grant later on in our telecast. There's almost a steal, and indeed it is. The quick hands of the Lady Blazers on defense. Underneath, wide open. Goodbye. There was just no question about that. Farah had just sneaked behind the defenders, and they went to sleep, and it is a 23-10 lead. As we say, Valdosta State playing as a team on a mission this afternoon. And trying to go down into the paint and getting the nice bank shot. Hughes has 5. She is the leader for this Lady Flames team. And believe it or not, that is the first non-3-point field goal of the game for Lee. And there you go, Farah once again. She is taking control of this game. She has 8. And somebody has to break for the ball for Lee, which they just simply have not been doing. And some of that has been this intense defense on the part of Valdosta State that's causing it. 5 on the shot clock. They have to hurry. Going for the big bomb. In and out. Absolutely robbed. So Lady Blazers can go up 15 now, and that's going to be a backside foul. Trying to get the steal was Hughes, and she commits her first. We have had so far in the game only 8 personal fouls called, and we have timeout with the score, Valdosta State 25 and Lee 12. Well, we talked to Marty Rowe in yesterday's news conference about how having faith in his players ultimately builds their confidence as team leaders.
Hey, all right. 2 weeks ago, they had a really rough game against Mississippi College. Okay? Same one. And you see what she did tonight because her coaches, and it's most importantly, her teammates believe in her. Okay? And so, that goes for them. That goes for Monica. That goes for Lindsay Keener. Okay? That goes for Haley. That goes for Hannah. All of our older players that have went through this, okay? You have to believe in each other more than anybody else. It doesn't matter outside the room, okay, who believes in you. But inside that room, you have to have this unbelievable belief in yourself.
Well, so far it has been a frustrating afternoon for Marty Rowe's leaders, for Lee. Hallie Hughes with 5 points. Johnson and Carbaugh off the bench have 3-pointers, and Schubert has been held to 1. So the starting lineup for Lee has been held to 6 points in this game, and that is just so uncharacteristic. Francis, let me tell you something. This young lady she goes all of about 5'4", if that, but already has 6 rebounds in the game, far and away the leader. Now, for a point guard to be getting that much off the glass, that should not ordinarily be happening, but it also shows you the hustle that she has. Chance of defense again. They're under 10 on the shot clock. Backdoor and could not hold on to it, so they go for the 3. And it is there. Jordan nails the three, and she came in off the bench to get a big one. And it is now a 16-point lead for the Lady Blazers. This is a totally different story than what you saw last weekend in the Gulf South Conference tournament, and no call underneath, and 2 opportunities for Mahonen that had just been frittered away, but the Lady Flames will play it underneath with 10 on the shot clock. But once again, they are rushed to try to deliver. Schubert back in the game. Here's Mahonen. And tried to get the turnaround bank shot, probably hesitated a bit too much, and the indecision caused the problem. And a whistle away from the ball. And the foul is charged to Mahonen. That is her first. That's only the second team foul of this second quarter. And let's see if they can continue to pour it on already in this game with a 5-possession lead. Trying to take it right through the defenders, didn't go. And here goes Schubert on the run and lost it right back. Schubert had too high of a dribble, and there you go. There's the home run pass down the stretch. And timeout is called once again by Marty Rowe. He just feels like he has no choice on that one. And as he does, trailing 30-12, let's get back to Deandra Shermer and talk to her about her team's resilience after Tampa made a late comeback trying to get into the game in their quarterfinal matchup yesterday.
Yeah, in the second half, we got a little bit loose with the ball. You know, we have 19 total turnovers. And so that's something where we cannot do that, and we know that. And we shot the ball well down the stretch. You see in the fourth quarter, we were able to score the basketball, but we just kind of got loose with the ball, and we're allowing them to get back in it. And then the other thing is, they're great players. You're not going to hold great players down. And I remember, you know, Aaliyah Abney hit, you know, this turnaround 3-point step back shot, and you kind of look at your players and you're like, you played great defense. And at the end of the day, we knew we weren't going to stop their offensive threat because they're too good. And so we just talked about limiting the looks that they got, and we talked about not allowing them to get to their spots.
And Deandra Shermer has to be very, very proud of what she's seen in the first half of these Lady Blazers attempting to get into Monday night's championship game. All kinds of defensive pressure in the post. And finally, a floater goes through for Carball. She has 5. And off the bench, she's tied for the leading scorer for the Lady Flames. And the big key here is in these final 3 minutes to try to force some turnovers or errant shots on the part of Lee. They're going for the big bomb off the back of the iron, and they scramble for the rebound. It is a jump ball, and alternate possession will go back to Valdosta State. Lee has to look for every kind of mistake it can force in the final 2.5 minutes of this second quarter to try to get this thing whittled down to maybe a single-digit deficit. That's going to be a tall order, down 16 right now. Again, working the left-hand side. That's where they've been the most successful this afternoon. Again, trying to go in the paint. And another offensive rebound has been frittered away. 12 on the shot clock. Farrer can set those screens so well and then get behind everyone and draws the foul. Perfect timing on the delivery. The foul is charged to Hughes. That will be her second. And checking back in is Garrett for Lee. So Farah, who has been far and away the game leader, she's a perfect 5 for 5 from the floor. And 10 points to lead everyone. And just forced that one a bit much. She is only a 51% free throw shooter. And so you figure if you can get 1 out of 2, then you've done quite well. got the second one, and so a 17-point lead. And the substitutions are exchanged. Checking back in for Lee is Julia Duncan. 19 points yesterday, and she's been held scoreless. Cameron Grant, scoreless. Garrett, scoreless. Schubert, only 1. The starters have just been throttled today by this Valdosta State defense. The jumper. Fall away, getting a very friendly bounce is Carbaugh, and she has 7. Morgan Carbaugh is a 5'7" junior from Knoxville, Tennessee. Yep, that's going to be an over-the-back charge to Garrett. That's her first. Fourth team foul on the Lady Flames in the second quarter. Marty Rowe is screaming at his defense. And they're open for the three again from the backside, and it is there. Another big, long one from the corner. And it is an 18-point margin at 34-16, and almost a steal, but a foul is going to be charged. And this one is going to be on Cersei. And so far in the game, 7 different Lady Blazers have scored. Only 4 Lee players have connected. And it has just been a totally, and that's a steal. Let's see if she's going to slow it up, because Farrah's right there in the back door. It is now 20, the lead for Valdosta State, 36-16 off the turnover. That's 10 points off of mistakes by the Lady Flames. And losing it out of bounds, and what else can go wrong for the Lady Flames today? You know, that's only 6 turnovers in the game. I'm looking at the wrong ledger. That is 11 turnovers now, and this team is only shooting 26%. They cannot hold it for the final shot, but they're going to eat up as much clock as they possibly can, up 20, because they don't want to make a silly mistake here at the end of the half. The three. No. Off the mark. And they tip the offensive rebound back in their corner. Reverse layup is there. That's as beautiful a drive as you will ever see. And Cersei with 8 now to make it a 38-16 game. They've got to hurry. And I'm not sure they know how much time is left on the clock. It's an air ball, and this was what you would call a Twilight Zone experience for the Lee Lady Flames. It is just out of a nightmare story. For the Valdosta State Lady Blazers, it has been a fabulous afternoon thus far, because they have dominated these 2 quarters, and as we say, they have played. Deandra Shermer's team has played like a team on a mission, up 38-16. Let's take a look and show you how these teams stack up here at halftime in scoring. Kay Farrah dominating in the post. She's been almost unstoppable. 6 for 6 from the floor, 13 points. She's added a free throw to that. She's only had 1 rebound because they haven't had to have her doing that. The leading rebounder, believe it or not, is the point guard, Francis. 7 rebounds in this game, along with her 2 assists and 1 steal. And then look down the ledger. 7 different Valdosta State players have scored. Cersei with 6. And she's 3 out of 4 from the floor. And Nicole Hayne is 4, but she's also contributed a rebound, 3 assists, 4 steals in the game. Bernard with 5. So everything is divvied up across the board for Valdosta State. For Lee, leading scorer is Carbaugh off the bench. That may tell you something right there. Morgan Carbaugh off the bench, 7 points, and she's the leading scorer in the game. The starters for the Lady Flames have only managed 6 points in this game, 5 of them by Hallie Hughes, and won by their leading scorer, Haley Schubert. Johnson, off the bench, has the only other 3 points, but the bench has more points by 10-6 for Lee here at halftime, and a lot of that is attributed to the Valdosta State intense defense, and also the fact that out of the 10 turnovers, half of them, 5, have been unforced errors on the part of Lee. We'll give you the more detailed statistics and also give you a look at each of these schools when we come back in about 10 minutes. So we want you to take a break and go to the refrigerator, thaw out, because right here in Jackson, Tennessee, we had snow last night when we left the gymnasium. We had about 4.5 inches on the ground here, and it was higher in other parts of West Tennessee. So go get you something to enjoy, and when we come back, we'll be back at about 4 minutes to go, and we'll show you what both of these schools look like, and then we'll give you the full halftime stats. Stay with us, everybody.
I was told the place I was looking for didn't exist.
A place that could refine my raw talents into something greater.
Where I could ask big questions about my faith, not settling for easy answers.
And I could risk what's comfortable in pursuit of my dream.
To join with others, find my voice, and change the world.
I was told that place didn't exist.
Then I found Lee.
Let's show you the halftime statistics, the grim realities for Lee University and the happy news for Valdosta State. Lady Blazers, 52% from the floor, 16 out of 31. Lee, one of the most uncharacteristic, 6 out of 23. And out of those 6, 3 of them are from behind the arc. They've just been able to do nothing in conventional two-point baskets in this game, 26%. Three-pointers. Neither team has been a ball of fire with that. Valdosta State, 27%, and Lee, 25%. From the free throw line, that hasn't been a big factor either because there have only been 12 personals called in the game. 75%, 3 out of 4 for Valdosta State. Lee, 1 out of 2. Rebounding, look at this. Big dominance on the part of Valdosta State, 18-9. And they have gotten on the offensive boards and dominated that 5-1. Turnovers. The Lady Blazers 5 and Lee with 10, and those 10 turnovers have led to 12 points for Valdosta State. And when you can only get 1 point off a turnover in any period, quarter, half, whatever, something's not clicking with your defense. And that's been the case so far with Lee today. And, we hate to harp on that, but it is really the truth. And you can't really exaggerate it any differently than what it is. But here's another key stat to take a look at. Grant, Duncan, and Schubert, 3 of the mainstays, starters all for this Lee team yesterday, combined for 50 points. Today, they have between the 3 of them 1, and that is a free throw by Schubert. Big difference from yesterday and today for Lee. Now, Hallie Hughes, who has 5 points in the game for Lee, talked to us about execution, which is something we haven't seen a great deal of with Lee in this game, but how against Benedict in the quarterfinal round, she thought her team had one of the best team performances by execution.
Yeah, we knew, like Coach said, having them scouted, that they were going to be super aggressive from the get-go. They're really good, long and athletic at that, and so we knew they were going to run at us, kind of deny passing lanes. So we were prepared for that, but I thought that as a team we moved the ball the best we've moved the ball in the past couple of games, actually, and that happened for the first 3 quarters especially, is what helped us build that lead so well, is just sharing and moving the ball.
Well, Hallie and her teammates are going to have to find some kind of magic and miracle to revive the execution that we just did not see, and it's going to be interesting to see if Marty Rowe can make any kinds of adjustments that will make a difference. As we say, Farrer has gotten behind defenders at least 3 times and has just coasted in for layups. So Deandra has this team very, very well prepared. And one of the things she said yesterday, and you're going to hear some things about that again as we approach the end of this game. We'll hear from Deandra in our next interview snippet. But one of the things that she talked about, she said, by this time of year, we all know each other. We've played each other over and over again. There aren't any surprises. So that's really what it comes down to. There are no surprises at this time of year. You can't pull a rabbit out of the hat and make a big difference. So the key is, can Lee mentally and emotionally as well as physically and psychologically turn it around in this second half? It'll have to be dramatic. And they go to the inside, the backdoor left-hand layup, and that again is the kind of thing that you have seen over and over and over today for Lee, and that is the 8th rebound for Francis. Point guards go after a lot of balls, but point guards shouldn't be getting 8 rebounds early in the second half. And the foul, and that one is going to be charged. And I'm looking over and see it hit the big board over here. That's our first foul of the quarter. The Lee team trying to get at least some kind of emotion going. The bench chanting defense, and they tried to go backdoor. And that one was just out of the range with the hook pass, trying to get Farah again. And with her 13 points in this game, they're going to try to exploit that in every way they possibly can, because she dominated that first half in the post. But Lee has to make at least a couple of flurries. And Schubert gets the basket and the foul. Perhaps maybe that will be the catalyst for the Lady Flames. And the foul is charged to Lily Long, and that is going to be her third. So Schubert, she's a 78% free throw shooter, nails it. You expected that from her. And they're going to go to a press, at least a half-court trap, to see if they can rattle this Lady Blazer team. Didn't seem to work that time. But again, you look at how this game has evolved. The Lee team has to make stops. Well, that's one of them right there. That's a shot turnover. If you hold them to a one-shot possession, you look on it the same as a turnover, and coaches have coined that phrase now, shot turnover. On the inside, yes, and the foul. Hallie Hughes, who you just heard from a moment ago, attempts to rally the forces. And that's the second straight time that one of the Lady Flames has been in a position for a three-point play. And she cuts the lead to 16. And they're going back to the pressure. Got three women up front in the half-court trap. Now the problem is you only leave two back, and you got to rush. You got to really hustle back on defense. They're going to go inside to Farrer, working against Garrett and traveling, changing the pivot foot. Seventh turnover for the Lady Blazers. So Lee has a little bit of life that's being demonstrated. You cannot overcome a deficit like this one in the first half in about 3 minutes. But what you want to do is chip away. And for Valdosta State, just maintain your composure after giving up those 2 3-point plays. Schubert was having all kinds of problems. Now there's 10 on the shot clock. They have just kept her throttled all day. And going down the baseline, nicely timed block. Absolutely beautifully handled by Nicole Hayne. That looked like it was going to be a down the lane left-hand layup, and it was beautifully blocked by Hayne. 7.5 minutes remaining, and you got a whistle away from the ball and an offensive foul. And that one's going to be charged to Farrer. That's her second. She has 2, Long has 3, and Odell from the bench has 2. Garrett and Hughes have 2 for Lee. They tried to go on the inside, and it goes off the fingertips. What a save. And it looked like soccer there for a minute. I don't know that I've seen that much variation. It looked like a combination of soccer and rugby. So Lee fritters away another opportunity. It's 12 turnovers now for the Lady Flames, and it's 9 now for Valdosta State as they swap them. Schubert's going to try to take it all the way, instead kicks out. And backside foul, and is it an offensive foul? It appears that it is. And that one is going to be charged to Hallie Hughes, and that will be her third. So Hughes playing with 3 now. .640 remaining. Lee has shaved a small amount off of that 22-point deficit at halftime. Farah gets it. And when they sense the momentum shifting, just go back to your bread and butter. And 7 for 7 from the floor is Kwajalein Farah. That one's short. And this has just simply not been an afternoon for Haley Schubert. And the foul on the backside by Garrett, and that is her third. So checking back in will be Mahonen. And trying to climb that ladder to get back into this one, well, it's back up to an 18-point deficit, and now you've got 2 of your starters with 3 fouls. Valdosta State, beautiful campus, only about 10 miles from the state line of Florida and Georgia. Big long 3, right through the heart. No question for Lily Long. No matter that she's got 3 fouls, she gets herself on the board with that big one, and it's a 21-point lead. Mahonen tried to go cross court, not enough authority on it, but it was tipped out of bounds by Nicole Hayne. This afternoon in the paint, Valdosta State, 28 points. Unbelievable. And they're down to 7 on the shot clock. Mahonen's calling for it. They have to hurry. And the offensive foul is called, and it is on Mahonen. The three-pointer was blocked as it was, but again, 14 turnovers now, and so many of them have been unforced errors. Speed just broke that press by Hayne. Just lightning fast she is, and Farrah works one-on-one against Mahonen. The hook shot just rims out. I'm going to tell you, Nicole Hayne is charging after every possible loose ball on this floor. The foul is charged to Schubert, her second. And checking in for Lee will be Morgan Carbaugh. She was the leading scorer for the team in the first half with 7 coming off the bench. So Cameron Grant checks out. And at the line for 2, Nicole Hayne. 4 points in the game so far, 2 of them from the free throw line. And you expect her dependability, 76% she is for the season from the line. And this would be for the largest lead of the game for Valdosta State. 45-22. And I don't think anybody in the house would have told you that this would have been a romp. But indeed it is, and it just seems as though nothing Lee attempts is able to unlock the key. The jumper is there. It's a 2. Julia Duncan with her first 2 of the game. She had 19 yesterday. Valdosta State can afford to take its time. There you go, back door. There was no way you were going to stop it. She just sneaked behind the defenders, and they were looking down court. Farrah with now 17. Far and away the dominant player in this game. And Schubert tried to do it all herself. Nothing there. Lady Blazers just absolutely, they're like a dynamo this afternoon. Workmanlike. And the foul. And that's going to send them to the line for another 2 because the bonus has already been achieved and there's 4:06 remaining. And we have timeout called on the floor. It is a dominant performance by Valdosta State, 47-24. Well, Deandra Shermer has to be very happy about that. Against Tampa yesterday, Valdosta State dominated the boards as they are today, 23-10. And so we asked Deandra about whether that, through the season, has been one of the big keys for the Blazers.
But against us, you're not going to be able to do that. We have 12 offensive rebounds. You know, we have fantastic offensive rebounders who are crashing hard. And then the other piece with that is I think that our transition was such a threat. And so when you have a very aggressive transition, whether we're turning the ball over in it or not, but when you have an aggressive transition, you can't offensive rebound. You got to get back.
And I met Deandra for the first time last night, but so articulate in trying to give us and paint the picture of how this ball club has been crafted and how, even if they lose one in the conference tournament, they know that their major goal is to go as deep as possible. The big goal is to win the national championship, and now that they are in the national tournament, to try to get from this ladder, which will end on Monday night, and get to the Elite Eight. That will be huge for this VSU team. I have to be very careful. When I went there 50 years ago, it was Valdosta State College, but they have been a university for many, many years now. But I must tell you, it's a place that when you go there, you take away many, many memories that it's a lifetime worth. And I think about half of my hometown that graduated from high school in 1971 decided to go to Valdosta State because it was only 60 miles away. Nicole Hayne at the line for two. She has been a dynamo and in and out on that one. She's a 76% free throw shooter, but she has been all over the place, chasing after every loose ball, going after offensive boards even if she couldn't get to them. She's had 4 steals in today's game. And once again, doubling the output of Lee. It's 48-24. I can tell you when Marty Rowe went to sleep last night, there is no way he saw this coming. And neither did any of his players. They were all looking forward to this 4th meeting with Valdosta State. From the corner, the 3 is there and delivered. So Hallie Hughes with 11. She's at least done everything she could possibly do, but the foul is called. Trying to get the steal is on Hallie, and that is her 4th foul in the game. That is a killer for this team, and so they are going to get back into the game. Addison Smith, the sophomore from New Hampshire. But you lose your leading scorer in a game like this. It is just absolutely difficult, because it just seems as though nobody else is really stepping up to the plate to make it happen. That one goes astray. But Lily with another opportunity. And nails it. 7 for Long. And the starters for this team today, they have contributed 40 of the 49 points. You can see a lot of switching off on defense. They've made it almost impossible. And again, Mahonen turns it over, trying to get it to the outside. They've made it almost impossible to penetrate in the paint. They picked up 16 points off of Lee turnovers today. And on the drive in, the foul is charged, and Hayne will go back to the line. The foul is charged to Johnson. Checking back in is Woodworth for Lee. And this place gets, as I mentioned yesterday, it gets like a morgue whenever a free throw is being shot. Now, it might be different when Eckert is on the line tonight and they're playing Union, where it's going to be a hostile crowd for the women from Florida. And Hayne has had herself a fine afternoon here with 9 points. She is 7 of 8 from the free throw line, and that has been huge in helping to build this 24-point lead. She has 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 steals. And those 4 steals have led to 7 points. From the corner, the 3 is just off the mark. Carbaugh cannot get it to happen. But on the offensive board, she takes it back home, and she has 9. Well, she came to play this afternoon, but they've got to have some more help from the starters. And backdoor, and the foul. Again, just lobbing that ball on the inside. That's a type of play that Union University likes to do with Jalencia Williams. And going to the line for two, it's Cersei. And you can see the smiles on the faces of the Lady Blazers as Cowboy Curling gets that floor clean, the most efficient at what he does of anybody in America. And she nails it home. And this game has been played so far in only 69 minutes. 7:25 tonight. We'll be back with the nightcap, and that'll be the host team, Union University, the top seed in this tournament, going against Eckerd of Florida. And Eckerd just played a brilliant workmanlike game last night in coming from behind to defeat its Sunshine State rival, Florida Southern. And nobody just can seemingly get open for this Lee team today. They have defended the three so well, 4 out of 14. The bank finally gets through. Woodworth with her first basket, but they had to work 18 seconds just to be able to get her open. 22-point margin. Big three, way short. That's one of the few ill-advised shots that we've seen this afternoon on the part of this Valdosta State team. Lee will toss it in underneath. Cowboys getting some camera time here in this third quarter. And watch him. He goes back on the floor even after they get back down. And Marty has had a lot of his starters not in this game because of foul trouble and, frankly, because some of the starters have just not been able to deliver today. So he's gone with a different lineup, and just pushing it too hard was Duncan. Valdosta State out-rebounding Lee 23-12. Just totally dominating the boards. You heard Deandra Shermer talk about what a key rebounding is. You know, I'm not even sure we've had a media timeout in this quarter. And they go to the inside, and the foul. And the foul is charged to Smith. Her first, and so, again, substitutions coming back in for Valdosta State, and Schubert's going to come back in. And it's been a tough day for her. 4 points. She only had one in the first half. She's 1 of 9 from the floor. It's been such a tough day for the leading scorer for this Lady Flame team. Odell is on the line. She's the only one who's been in the game that hasn't scored, and now she has. 8 Valdosta State players have been in the game, and all 8 have now put a point on the board, if not more. And it has just been a piece of cake for them this afternoon. Now, I'm sure that Deandra will tell you, well, we had to work hard to make our defense execute as we did. But, I mean, they have just played like it has been a soft touch today. Everybody scrambling down underneath. It's a scrum. And the jump ball will send the ball back down in the other direction for the Lady Blazers. Cowboy lost his job there. Look, you got Nicole Hayne has done everything this afternoon, and now she's cleaning the floor. Cowboy, you better watch out. You're going to lose your job. That's amazing. Nicole Hayne deserves an extra basket just for that. 16 left on the game clock. Going for a 30-footer, and it was way off to the right. And the foul. And I can tell you the Lee contingent did not like that. So at the line for 2, it will be Lily Long, and she has 7 on the afternoon, and she has had herself a very consistent day and was robbed on that one. Lily's an 80% free throw shooter, so you don't expect that too often. And she pummels it home. A 25-point lead is now the largest for the Lady Blazers. That you don't want to just put it in the bank, but thinking back, only 10 minutes remaining at the end of this, and they're going to have to, and this may be a steal, and putting up a big one. And they tried to bank it in, and it was almost home, but nothing there. 56-31, Valdosta State is on top. What an afternoon. You know, dictating tempo is one of the hallmarks of Lee, and they have not been able to do it this afternoon. But Cameron Grant, who it's been a tough day for her being held scoreless, she said that's what the team did so well in their game with Benedict on Friday.
I think we were seeing, like Holly said, we moved the ball really well, and we were seeing what was open, and we were taking open shots and one more pass and back doors. We got to the point, and especially, you know, late third quarter, we were really seeing those open shots, and we were making them. So I think that's what helped us get ahead there.
Well, Delaney Bernard of Valdosta State, she said this is the fourth meeting of the season between Lee and VSU, and Delaney talks about how the Blazers have prepared for this return matchup.
I'm just kidding. You know, honestly, for us, really what I think the biggest component is for us to just focus on us, because we've all played each other so many times. If we can just, nope, this is our defense, this is what we do, we're going to communicate, we're going to run our offense, that's going to hold through and through, even if we don't know a set, even if we don't know a player, even if we don't know personnel. So really that's what I'm going to preach to my teammates, and, you know, I think we should focus on.
Well, that young lady from Lakewood, Colorado, has 5 points in the game, but they haven't needed any more from her than that, because this has been a total team effort. And I don't know when I have seen as destructive a defensive performance by a team as I've seen by Valdosta State. And Lee has just been able to get nothing going consistently. 12 out of 36 from the floor for 33%. 4 out of 15, 27% in three-pointers, and been out-rebounded 25-12. That's where your dominance is told. They go on the backside, and the foul is called. That one is on Jordan. And they're going to wave back into the game. I think Garrett's back in there, and she's playing with 4 fouls. No, she got 3, pardon me. It's Hughes that has 4 fouls. Garrett has 3. One-hand push shot just does not deliver the three-pointer for Hughes. Marty's got all of his experience in the game now. His best talent, even though so many of them, you got 3 of them that are in foul trouble. And that's Schubert, and that'll be her 4th. So Schubert and Hughes with 4, and Garrett with 3. And you have to know, for this 5'7" senior from Knoxville, Haley Schubert, that has been one of the outstanding players in the Gulf South Conference, this has just been hard to take today. Valdosta State just playing its workmanlike game. Nothing that looks as though they're rushed. Going for the corner for the 3, right through the heart. Nicole Hayne, 12 points in the game. That's her first 3. And she even cleaned the floor today. What a combination that she has. They need to have a statistic for that. Duncan will toss it in. That was Hughes, excuse me, tossing it in. They go to the inside. Garrett trying to get between the defenders, and the foul is called before the shot. And that's charged to Hayne. That is only her first foul of the game. Farrer with 17 and Hayne with 12. They have 29 of the 59 points. Those two have virtually delivered half of the output for Valdosta State this afternoon. But take a look at Searcy and Long with 8 each. And at the line, Garrett, that's her first point of the game. And she nails the second one. And they're going to continue to try to press to see if they can do anything to rattle the cage of this Valdosta State team. But they still managed to get it across the line in 8 seconds. This team is just so poised. And that's one of the things that Deandra Shermer told us about. And they curl it inside. Farrer has not had one of late, but she'll go to the line for 2 with that. And we'll see if we can pick up who it's called on. That is on Smith, and that will be her second. Farrer, very dependable. 18 points on the day. In the afternoon, 8 out of 9 from the floor. She's been amazing today. She's certainly a candidate for the outstanding player of this tournament, particularly should Valdosta State win it. And today she has been dominant. From the corner, the 3, and it is there. They have needed that one, and Julia Duncan with 5, and they wanted a push-off, and it was not called. 60-36. We still got 8 minutes remaining in this one. What Lee wants to do is to try to make this one respectable. Hook goes off astray, but Farrer's right there for the offensive rebound. Ten on the shot clock. Deandra just absolutely has had this team so well prepared today. And the reverse layup that time does not fall, and the rebound comes off to Grant. They kick it outside for the 3, and it goes astray again for Duncan. They have just not been able to make this come together. As we said in the second quarter, the Lee team needed to have a couple of flurries that could get them, but it seemed as almost right from the get-go when the game got off to 11-3 and they could not slice the lead back at all. It seemed as though there was some kind of just almost blind spot. And underneath, the foul is going to send Grant to the line. It was almost like they had a blind spot, a haze that just simply could not allow them to make a run, and a lot of that was Valdosta State's defense. And also a tough day of shooting. In most of the day, the field goal shooting has been in the 20s. They're at 33% now. And Grant connects. That is her first point of the afternoon. So at last, all of the starters have finally scored. And Cameron gets her second. And we got 7.5 minutes remaining in this. And checking in for Marty Rowe is Micah Black, a 5'6" senior from Dayton, Tennessee. He recruits so many players from right around the Cleveland and Chattanooga, Tennessee area, reaches into Knoxville and Nashville. And that's going to be a jump ball. Nice block, and it will be retained by the Lady Blazers, but it was nicely blocked. And the place has somewhat become quiet because of this runaway game that we have. And Francis, 8 rebounds. She's the leading rebounder in this game. Back door, and it goes in and out. Hayne was absolutely robbed. And on the hook off the offensive rebound, Farrer will go back to the line. The foul is on Garrett, and that gives her 4. So they have Hughes, Garrett, and Schubert with 4 each. Garrett will come out, and Grant hustles back in. And sometimes when you get it tournament time, you can have a situation like this where 1 week, just think about what happened over the course of last night. Last weekend at this time, North Carolina had almost a dominant victory over Duke, particularly in the second half of that game. And then last night, couldn't do a thing against Virginia Tech. So sometimes 1 weekend to the next and you're playing the same opponent, you can have a totally different outcome. Valdosta State, more than likely, and the foul is called away from the ball, going to the deck extremely hard. Good sportsmanship underneath. And we didn't see her signal on who that was charged to. But Valdosta State, assuming they hold on here and will be in the championship game Monday night, will take on either Eckerd of Florida, or they'll be taking on another team that they have seen twice before this season in Union University. It is Schubert, and the three just goes off the back of the iron. There's one thing you can say about this Lee team, and particularly the bench. They have not given up, and they continue to encourage their teammates. But I know this is one of those days, and on the rebound, Hayne was clobbered, and they're going to call it an intentional foul. And I know that Marty Rowe is giving a stare down to the official. But she called it as an intentional foul, so it will be 2 shots and the ball for Valdosta State. And the officials continuing to talk it over as to whether or not that call is going to hold up. Yep. Going to call an intentional foul, and that'll be charged to Schubert, and that will be it for her 5th foul. So she comes away, and her career at Lee has been brilliant. And she averaged 16 points a game during the course of this season, and the officials are looking at it on the replay to confirm it. But for Haley Schubert, I know this is not the way that she was hoping it would end. She was held to 4 points today, 1 out of 10 from the floor. And it's just been that kind of day all around for Lee University. You could not have written a script that could have had any more horror in it than what it has been for this team today, and a team that just last week knocked Valdosta State out of the Gulf South tournament. So the conference tournament and the regionals have had 2 different scripts all the way across the board. Deandra Shermer and her team just very relaxed, wanting to try to get this last 6.5 minutes over with so they can sit around and scout who they potentially will play on Monday night for the championship. And this play, while they're sorting all of this out, we talked to Kwajalein Farrar yesterday about how important this season has been after the chaos last year with COVID.
I just think that it's really important for us to enjoy everything that we have right now. It's a big year, and it's nice to be a little bit more normal than usual and to play as many games as we have and to be able to play basketball as much as we have. You just enjoy every game, and you walk out, and that's all you can do every game is just enjoy it.
Well, Kay has definitely had a day. 20 points, 8 out of 10 field goals, 4 out of 6 free throws, 5 rebounds, and a blocked shot. And I can tell you almost assuredly she is going to be our choice for player of the game, because I don't think anybody has had – a lot of them have some really good stats here this afternoon. You got a lot of assists. Cersei has 5 assists in the game. She's done that off the bench. Nicole Hayne, terrific day, 12 points, and she's 7 of 8 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals. Boy, what a combination that she has shown off the boards and on defense. But Farah has just put it all together today. What a day it has been for her, and I'm sure she will remember this one for a long, long time. And she's a graduate student. She transferred to Valdosta from USC Aiken. She's from Grovetown, Georgia, and the 6'1" grad transfer, has just demonstrated tremendous skill in this tournament all the way across. As of right now, Kay has 35 points in the tournament, and she's pulled down 13 rebounds. So you can't say enough about her. I have really enjoyed during the news conferences meeting these young women and having an opportunity to just see them express themselves, and when they're in a relaxed pattern. And the way the news conferences work is that they give them a 10-minute cool-down period after the game, and then they come back into a designated room here at Union University, and we have an opportunity to speak with them. This is one of the longer delays that I have seen in a case like this, and I'm not sure why it has taken this long. And we were really speeding along in this one, but we haven't gotten to the media timeout yet. So Schubert, they just announced that Schubert is gone, and Carball will come back in as her replacement. Last night when we left this place, we went to the parking lot, and all of a sudden we expected 1 to 3 inches of snow. As it turned out, it was about 4 to 5 inches, depending on where you were in Jackson, Tennessee. And it was a palatial wonderland here on the campus of Union University, but we were going back for the news conference with 2 of the players from Eckerd College, and it was it was Sophia Pearson who said to us, she says, "Oh, I'm not prepared for this." I don't think the wardrobe suggested that she was going to be here, and all of a sudden it was on the ground. But in talking to Paul Hansinger, the coach of Eckerd last night, he said, this is a real treat for us Floridians to come up here, and we didn't think when we were on our way that we were going to see snow, and they did. So they'll go back home and be able to tell that story today. Fortunately, we had a couple of warm days here in Jackson, Tennessee prior to this. And so it did not stick to the streets and make it a crippling snow. It stayed in a lot of the yards, but this afternoon it was already beginning to melt off many of the rooftops around the area, and everybody can safely maneuver. Marty Rowe, it has been a rough afternoon. I've known that gentleman for the better part of 25 years. He's had his rough days. It was just not what he or his team expected today, and this is one young lady who's made those nightmares happen for them, Nicole Hayne. And she connects. Nicole with 13 on the afternoon. She averages 14 a game for this team. Farrah's the leader with 15, so Nicole has matched her season average, and Farrah has topped hers today. They're the only 2 in double figures, but you got it spread out with some of the other players across the board. You got Long. She's had such a fine afternoon across the board. Searcy with 8, and that's not something that you would have expected off the bench. And they're just skating the time down underneath the Hayne, and she tries that reverse layup again and gets the bobble. Boy, what an afternoon she has had. 14, and she has matched her season's average. A 28-point lead, and for the 3, again, it's off to the left. Tough afternoon for Hallie Hughes. 2 out of 6 from behind the arc. She's got 11 points in the game, but it has just been not the game she was expecting at all. Deandra Shermer, I'm sure, is going to be getting more of her reserves into this contest fairly soon. Marty Rose beginning to do that. Big long 3 off to the left. And Farrah is still there at this stage of the game fighting for those offensive boards. She has 6 rebounds in the game to go with her 20 points. And we're at 5 minutes remaining. They have 5 on the shot clock. And Hayne's going to go for it. And it just rims out. They succeeded, though, in that possession of skating 42 seconds off the clock. And they're going to work it around the perimeter again. They have just had so much of a difficult time getting baskets in the paint this afternoon. And, again, knocked away, but the follow didn't go. Finally, the third time, Grant connects. And timeout is called with 4:21 remaining. And so we are going to take a timeout for this message of interest to you. You are watching the NCAA Division II Women's South Regionals.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
In our next matchup between Union and Eckerd, you're going to be seeing two of the outstanding coaches in the nation, absolutely, as well as the South region, and that is Mark Campbell, who reached 600 victories in his career, faster than any coach at any level of college basketball in history, and Paul Hansinger, who just did a terrific job with the Eckerd team. And there you see some of those ladies in the stands right now. Paul had his team so well prepared, but the big thing last night against Florida Southern was that when they got down by 12 early, they maintained their poise, and you saw Paul being very, very calm at the bench when they were in timeouts, and he helped them just gradually to redirect what was really an old-school basketball game, just possession by possession. You didn't have many steals or breakaway baskets. It was just hard-nosed basketball. Kind of like the thing that you compare in football to calling it smash mouth. That's the way it was, and they came from behind to win by 5 over Florida Southern. And we've got 4:21 remaining here. And we'll be going downstairs and getting some choice comments from the Valdosta State press conference immediately afterward. And for those of you watching here, we'll be back at 7:25 with Union against Eckerd. We'll bring you the starting lineups and try to get you with the table set for the final semifinal before we decide who's going to go for it all on Monday night in the championship game. The three goes off the back of the iron, and the rebound comes off to Grant. Lee has been out-rebounded 32-18 in this game, and that's another big, big factor. Off the mark by Black and going to the deck hard. And, boy, you don't want to see something like this happen. She's okay. I think she just caught it in the ear, maybe below the eye. And so we'll walk back down the opposite direction. And she's going to shake it off. Well, those things happen, and she's got a kind of a smile on her face. She's, hey, you know, it's all part of playing at this level of basketball. You're going to catch one in the ear every once in a while. Delaney Bernard at the line. It was so fun to meet her yesterday. Except that's Cersei. My numbers, sometimes we have a hard time because of these dark numerals. It's very difficult without borders around them. That was Cersei. It was still fun to meet Delaney Bernard, but we just managed to catch the 3 on the front of her jersey. We are not at courtside. We are about 20 feet up in the air. And the curl hook does not go. Again, just the story of the afternoon for Lee University. And you know this team will be back next year. I've never known of Marty Rowe not to just reload. He doesn't rebuild, he reloads. They'll be back as a contender again next year, and they will have the opportunity to see if they can make it a different story. The bank is not there. Now, she was wide open for the three, but I think she was just wanting to take some time off the clock. And that's probably what Deandra told her to do, but they toss it aside. .244 remaining. And checking out is Cameron Grant. Cameron, the senior from Monticello, Florida. It's down in the area near Tallahassee and Perry, and she checks out of the game. And it was a tough day for her, but she had a good tournament. 15 points and 10 rebounds yesterday in the victory over Benedict. And they can't even get what was pretty open bank shot that way. And the game is Keener now. Lindsay Keener, the 6'2 redshirt junior from Pikeville, Tennessee. As we get close to the 2-minute mark and wind this one down. And the fall-away jumper is there. Cersei gets into double figures now with 12. She's 4 out of 7 from the floor and a perfect 4 for 4 from the free throw line. 5 rebounds and 5 assists. So she's done a terrific job off the bench. The young lady from Lincoln, Nebraska. And she is just a freshman. And on the drive in, the foul is charged. And this one is going to be on Cersei. That is her third. So with 96 seconds remaining, Hallie Hughes goes to the line. She's been the most significant offense for this team, but just could not get a help at any point in time, really, from a lot of her fellow starters in any consistency in this game. And she's a delightful young lady. She is very articulate, expressed herself so well yesterday in the media conference. I know all of you parents and grandparents, other family members of these young women, if you couldn't make it in here to Jackson, I know that you are very, very proud of these young ladies. And regardless of whether you're on the happy or the sad end of the outcome here, let them know how much you appreciate them. Lee with the steal. And they drive it to the corner as you got all kinds of reserves in the game. And the layup is there, and that gets a big cheer from the crowd as Lindsay Keener connects. A 70-44 game as we're down to the final minute. We thought about the three, but they're just going to skate some more game time off. Going for the big bomb. Nope, off to the right. And they get the offensive board, so they can chew it down to about 28 seconds. And they have to scramble for this one, and it goes to the floor, and it's a steal. Black came up with it. So Lee with an opportunity to at least get one more on the board before this one is over. Black. And on the backside, Smith. They got to hurry down to 6. They're going inside, and it's too strong for Smith, and it looks like we will skate out the final 6 seconds. And Deandra Sharmer and her Valdosta State Lady Blazers have punched their ticket to Monday night's championship game resoundingly 70-44 over Valdosta State. And what a performance it was after they got out to an 11-3 lead against Lee, and Lee never could get on track, never really got any kind of a run in the game whatsoever, and Valdosta State just made it a workmanlike performance led by Kay Farrow. Now, for Lee, Hallie Hughes with 13 points in the game, and she ended up 4 out of 10 from the floor and 2 out of 6 from three-point land, and she was their leader with 13 and 9 for Carbaugh, Morgan Carbaugh coming off the bench. But it was a tough afternoon. Only 15 points between Grant, Duncan, Garrett, and Schubert, the rest of the starters, and it just has to be much better than that. And so it was a tough day all the way around for Lee, and much of the credit has to go to the defense of Valdosta State. Led by Kay Farrer with 20 points, 8 out of 10 from the floor, 4 out of 6 from the free throw line, well above her season average. 6 rebounds on the day, a block as well, and Kay ends up as our player of the game here in the semifinals. Valdosta State led by Kay Farrer. 16 points for Nicole Hayne. I can't say enough about how she was after every loose ball, going after offensive rebounds everywhere. She was only 3 of 10 from the floor, but 9 of 10 from the free throw line. How dependable she was there. 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 steals that led to 7 Valdosta State points. 16 points on the day for Hayne. And Taylor Searcy with 12 on the day. 4 out of 7 from the floor, 4 out of 4 free throws, and 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals on her part. So she gave them a lot off of the bench today. They picked up 17 points from their bench, and that was huge. So it was a dominating performance for Valdosta State, and so Deandra Shermer will let her team get a little bit of rest. They'll do a walkthrough tomorrow afternoon, maybe a light practice, but they'll enjoy being able to take a pause from having to play 2 days in a row and then get ready for Monday night's championship game against either Union or Eckerd, and they will be in our next game that'll be coming up. Our telecast time will start in about 40 minutes at 7:25. So we hope that you'll be with us. It ought to be loud in here because a lot of the locals and the student body of Union University will pack it in tonight. It was loud last night, and Eckerd is going to be a double tough challenge for the Union Lady Bulldogs. You heard Mark Campbell say that last night, and he will tell you that during the course of this game as well when we bring it to you. So until then, in about 39 minutes, this is Steve Beverly, and here are the folks who brought you today's game. Billy Bolin, Andrew Burris, and Eris Hollingsworth on cameras. Chris Reasons is our ever-cool, ever-present director, and the boss himself, our executive producer, Paul Schultze from Worthy Road Studios. I'm Steve Beverly saying until we're with you in 39 minutes, so long from the great hub city of West Tennessee.